Welcome everyone to another Saturday morning. Sorry for the quite slight delay here. We were stuck behind the bantha and took 14 parsecs instead of 12 today. So, happy May the 4th. Let's get that out of the way. And without further ado, she is the role model for Carrie Ann Moss's character in The Acolyte. Let's give it up for the one and only Fray.
Thank you. You're always so sweet to me when I come on.
You're saying you're not the Acolyte?
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty badass, but I don't know if I'm like Trinity worthy, but okay. maybe Mariko Sama worthy, which we will talk about later. But yeah, so I always feel like I do you a disservice when I have to give you compliments, so I appreciate it.
I always prep in my head. I'm not going to lie. There's no doubt about that one. So, hey, so long, yeah, it's free comic book day too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm clearly at my local comic shop picking up all my comics because I'm that type of nerd.
I went digital. I had to go digital. I don't have enough room in my house to continue. After 15,000 comics, I'm like, eh.
It's not my mic, it's the fan distance 30, so I will turn that down. Is that better? Did you hear me?
Better.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
It gets hot in this office with all the lights on, the hat, and everything else, because let's face it, I have 50 video game systems always on over here, so it gets pretty hot in this room.
The beard. It's the beard.
I mean, that does it too.
Yeah.
That it does, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I used to collect comics a lot. I had spawned 1 through 200 at one point in time. And then starting at, I think, Spider-Man Brand New Day, I was getting, because they were doing 4 a month of Amazing Spider-Man when that storyline happened. So I did that on all the X-Men as well. But yeah. I traded it all in for video games. I picked one nerdom according to the wife. So that's where we're at.
I think it's funny that you say, "Oh, I had 4 of this," and I would get each week. I had at least 20 comics each week, so like it was easy to get into like the 15,000 range. So that's after like getting some of my comics, like actually like taking them and just saying, "Hey, here you go," or giving away some. I had all the Watchmen, like the original Watchmen series, the 12 issues. I gave them to somebody for Christmas because I knew they loved the series and they didn't have it. So it's like, I mean, that's like hundreds of dollars I gave away for Christmas. So I'm just like, because I read it and I didn't need it anymore.
Apparently my volume was too high. So is that better? I hope it is. But
that is. That
awesome.
It went down a little. Yeah, you are like peaking though a little, just to let you know.
Interesting. I generally don't have that issue because I'm very low toned as I speak. But we have to bring in our last panel for today because it is for level update. And it just happens to coincide with May the 4th. The captain of our ship, Captain Lady Moon.
Yay! Happy level update!
Thank you. I'm back. Yeah. Sorry,
it's so funny. Because we see you at least once a week.
Yes, they do. They see me. So we've been busy filming the New Order. And so they've been seeing me at least once a week. So it doesn't feel like I ever left. But yeah, to all of you lovely people, happy May 4th. It is my level up day.
You're what, 23 now? Oh, wow. That was
gosh.
Level up day.
I wonder if her cat was like, "You're done." Because my cat
knocked over the thing and it completely just like cut me.
That's funny. I just said that. I was like, I wonder if her cat went, "Okay, you're done."
My cat was like, "Nope." Yeah, he likes to be a part of all my shows. Whenever we're filming New Order, he'll just randomly come and be like, "Hi guys." And then just pop over.
Yeah. All we see is like a tail going through.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, is everyone caffeinated and ready to get into this nerd out for today?
I had a whole cup of coffee before the show even started.
I'm on my second. My dad called me first thing this morning, like at 8:50. I was like, "Happy birthday!" I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Dad."
You're like, who
No,
is
I'm up
this?
now.
Why are you calling me so early?
Yeah, but we have to talk in this hot cutting news. Is Wesley Snipes back as Blade?
I freaking
Absolutely
hope
not.
so.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. I love that though. Absolutely not. Your mic is really high. It is very hot, Xavier. I'm not used to it. It's like,
Still,
yeah.
it's on automatic adjust, and my microphone's farther away than normal too.
Maybe that's
really
what it is. Move it closer and see if maybe it'll adjust and it's lower again.
Is that any better?
That is better.
Talk more. Say more
Talk
words.
more. Words, magical words.
I mean, it's still pretty high, but it is a little lower than it was.
Yeah.
Let me adjust the gain here. Is that better or worse?
No, that's
Say
better.
more words.
Say more
Say
words,
more.
more words.
I'm gonna. And no, I can't lower mine because if I lower mine, it will lower my volume too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. But I know.
Anyway, Wesley Snipes is Blade. Back as Blade.
Yes. So, for Captain, what do you think? Do you think he needs to come back, or should we get Marshall Ali still as Blade?
I mean, he still looks amazing. And just I
You are very choppy there for a second.
Yeah. I mean.
yeah, it's raining over here. Yeah.
Is there another computer mic? No, it's the same mic I use for every single show.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's acting wonky as it is. My take on it, I didn't say that I think that he is still young enough to pull it off because he doesn't look very different, in my opinion. Because we've had someone else play Blade for the series. And I think it was LL Cool J played Blade for the series, and he just didn't pull it off.
Yeah. No, somehow my mic got changed. So I'll be right back. So you guys keep talking about Blade.
Oh gosh, okay. Yeah.
They just keep talking about the mic over and over. It's so funny. Frame rate drops. Interesting. Yeah, so I guess since I'm still like on here, but yeah, that's basically my take. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I'm a big Wesley Snipes fan. This is one of my fandoms where I'm just like, I'm all in for it. I love this fandom. Blade for life. I'm a huge Blade fan. And Wesley's just my one and only for that.
I watched all of the Blade movies.
Like the series? Oh,
and
okay.
you know what? I didn't actually get to see the series.
See? No one cares about the series because it wasn't Wesley Snipes being Blade.
Well, no. The reason I didn't is because Wesley Snipes besmirched my Buffy. And because of that, I refused to watch anything Blade again, whether he was in it or not. So I was mad. And I still don't forgive him for that. So this is why I don't want Wesley Snipes. He said that Blade would beat Buffy, and there's no way that would happen.
That feels like apples and oranges. It just feels like apples and oranges because she's different. She's not like, it's not like she's named like a slayer she's a slayer. She's a prophesied slayer for a reason.
Yeah.
Sorry,
she's
Wesley.
A chosen one. So
she's a chosen one.
And then I think he didn't take into account they'd be on the same side.
Right, exactly.
And it's not like she doesn't.
I know, vamp on vampate. I agree, vamp on vampate. There's no reason for that. So funny enough,
but she's not a vamp.
Yeah,
she's not a vampire. She's something different. So I actually wrote
dates.
Yeah, so I actually wrote a fan fiction for Blade, and it basically has I know it basically has like that whole thing. There's like a chosen one. It's based on an Irish mythology, and so I have like 16 chapters of it written. It's actually up on fanfiction.net.
Ooh,
You
there you
want to take
go.
a look at it? It's called Twist of Fate. No, actually, I really enjoy. Have enjoyed writing it, but the thing is that it's a Buffy like character, and that's the thing is that they are on the same side.
Yeah.
So why would they ever fight each other unless there was like that whole Deadpool versus Spawn thing, or the Spawn versus I don't remember who was Spawn, but it's like
Batman.
Spawn and Batman.
Yeah, Spotman.
No,
Batman.
no,
he
just
fought
appears
Batman
there,
multiple
and
times.
they fought Batman, but they do end up on the same side,
Yeah.
and then they work together. So it's kind of like that whole thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was my thing. But Wesley Snipes like, no, he'll kick her ass, blah 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 blah. And I understand you want your character to be whatever, but clearly you don't know either character.
Internalized misogyny.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that. So that's why I don't want Wesley Snipes, because I don't feel that he understands the essence of the character. I mean, they changed him from British to a guy from
Right.
Detroit because it was Wesley Snipes. So it's like, obviously, that's a thing.
Fair.
I think Mahershala Ali, which I know I said his name wrong, Mahershala Ali, I corrected it. They just cut that out, right? We can cut that out.
Yes,
later?
yes.
Okay. That he actually could bring the character to a more comic book version, and I really like that. Now, that being said, if Wesley Snipes is in Secret Wars or he's like a Blade variant like of that, I think that would be fantastic. I think they have such an opportunity with Secret Wars to bring all the other Marvel movies back in and just really kind of saying, hey, we recognize that these movies happened and you guys love them, and so we're giving you this huge fan letter, just saying thank you to being fans of Marvel movies for so many years, that we're bringing them all in. Yes, we're going to kill most of them off, but
yeah, that's a great opportunity for that. I think that's a really, because you could do it like a Doctor, it's like one of those Doctor Who specials where they brought in past doctors, or you could do it where it's or even in like the CW shows like Flash, they had different iterations of the Flash characters, also played by the original, like one of them who plays the dad, actually, he was the original Flash back in the day.
John Wesley.
I think that'd be a fantastic. Plus, the third movie was awful. Third Blade movie is not. Oh, it was so bad.
That's the funny thing, is that I was a fan of like the first one and the third one, but I wasn't really a fan of the second one.
I love the second one. That's so funny.
Yeah, and I mean,
I thought it was just as good, if not better.
The second one, yeah, but I think it was Ryan Reynolds. I think him bringing in the funny and just really annoying
he kind of
Wesley Snipes just like made it was. I was like, so.
I mean, the thing is about Ryan, I think that they actually ultimately defanged Hannibal a lot. Yeah, because Hannibal's super different in the comics as well, and that's the thing, is I think that when actors are casted in roles that are these really set roles, I think there should be homework where they really need to learn who the character is and like have that history backing that. If you're going to write in a character that's been around for a long time, understand your character. Exactly. Just speaking as an actor, because I am an actor. Yeah. Learn your freaking character, especially if you've established character. Learn that character. Understand that character. I could say that
about Wesley Snipes as well, and about like a couple other people in that movie. But I think part of that was the director and the writing.
Oh, absolutely. The producer too. I do think that, because there was a lot of things that Chris Christopherson was like, get me out of this right now. Don't want to do it, because they had him kill off his character. Partially is because he couldn't stand producers.
Yeah, and so I do think I would love to see him back as like a fan love letter, really, honestly. But I don't want him back as the main Blade. I want and I think it's just they ran out of time, and so that's why they're talking about bringing him in also and doing the with Secret Wars, because I don't see Blade coming out before Secret Wars as it stands right now. So
yeah, for sure. So that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I do love the Blade movies as a whole, let's face it, maybe Hannibal changed his name to Wade Wilson at some point in time because essentially he was Deadpool.
Yeah,
He
it was
was.
his audition. It was his audition to be Deadpool.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree that.
That
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a huge thing that he is going to be Blade, I think, in Secret Wars. Maybe even in The Void and Deadpool and Wolverine. Because I can see Ryan Reynolds, because he's worked with him in the past, bring him into that movie.
Yeah,
and
but I
do
hear
stuff
their
like that.
working relationship was really horrible.
Everyone's working relationship with Wesley Snipes is really hard.
Which makes me so sad because he's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, he refused to film any scene with any other actor in Blade Trinity. He was all by himself. That's why there's always just reaction shots of him.
To be fair, the producers were so bad. They were so like the main producer. Like I've heard a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Again, he could be an egoistic asshat, but I do know that there was so many problems in there. Like they just would not take anything he said into consideration. He was constantly fighting him. Like the director had to fight them. It was a mess behind the scenes, and it shows in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds is probably the best thing of that movie, with maybe Blade, but everyone else in there was just awful. And again, they killed my boy, so I was already angry about that. I'm a big I'm a big Whistler fan. I really love Whistler.
Mm-hmm.
I love the dynamic of Whistler and Blade. I love that, especially in the second one. It's fantastic. I just love that dynamic. So I mean, again, I could talk about this I could do a whole nerd session. I'm such a big fan of Blade. I have the book, the TV made. It's the one David S. Goyer film that I really like. And I'm not a big David S. Goyer fan, but that one is, I will contend that is one of the most diverse movies, especially for 1998. Fantastic.
Yeah. Quick thing, I actually interviewed the guy who did the blood sprinkler scene, the guy that did setups for everything in the original Blade movie.
That is amazing.
Cool.
So shout out to Mick Strawn. He's awesome. He had problems with the directors and producers even on the first Blade movie. But yeah, I said Secret Wars, hands down, going to be there. It'll be the last time we see him. And just quick side note, I think it was really fun that they had Wesley Snipes on What We Do in the Shadows TV show, showing that he's a vampire in real life. And part of that.
Yeah, I did see that clip. Mm-hmm. And, anyway.
I said it's just going to I think Marshall Ali will still come in here, and I think they'll play nicely into Midnight Suns, which is my big hope of Blade and Black Knight and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hope they don't just totally take Black Knight out of it, because I think that he has a lot. The character has a lot to give in MCU.
Yes. So. So I think that's Phil. Distant Nerding has a really good question you should have put up there that I like. Oh, that's a take. That's a question. Do I think that Mahershala, oh my gosh, I can't even say it. Mahershala. Mahershala. I think Mahershala would be a good Blade. Am I open to it? There can be only one.
Not forever.
That's Highlander.
I know.
More than one Highlander.
I'm sorry, there can only be one. No, I'm really, I hope it is really good. They strike me as being about the same age, which is really interesting, because I'm sure Mahershala is younger, but he strikes me as being older. I always thought he was that he was about that age range. And I think it mostly is because of Midnight. That's what I first saw him in, and he plays like a very dad character. And so to me, I thought, which is great. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic. I think he's a fantastic actor, and I would like to see him doing more things. I also think that if we're going to go there, I also would really love Idris Elba as Blade too, if we're going to go there. But Idris Elba could do no wrong. He is perfection at this point.
All right, we killed this topic, brought it back to life many times. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Potatoes.
The next thing,
potatoes on the screen.
So out with the new and in with the old. Mufasa.
Uncanny Valley is all I have to say about that.
Uncanny Valley?
Uncanny Valley.
So, I mean, are you excited? Did you like the Lion King remake with the live action? Sorry, live action, because there's no live lions in it.
I didn't see it because I'm a fan of the animated, and I feel like why? It's the same thing. I didn't see the Beauty and the Beast live action. I loved the animated. I was like, I don't need to see the story again. I know what it's about, you know? So I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, although, you know, I might see this if it's on Disney. Hello, K. Dub King. But I'm not, I'm like, nah, it's not my thing.
But you don't know the story.
I don't have any children the ages that I think would make me want, like, you know, really get me into the theater to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's for me. I really loved the originals, like the original Lion King and the animated original Lion King, and I just feel like I'm like, this is the story, and I don't really need to know what Mufasa's story was, because he was a king. Obviously, he had his own story about that, but I just feel like we get into these stories that I would prefer not to be told, because we don't get those in books. Like, you don't get backstories for everybody in books, and sometimes if you do, it ruins that character. So I'm just like, I don't need it. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
No, I love your take on it. So when I first heard that they were doing a live action Lion King, I was so excited. I was like, yeah, because it's okay. So it is actually on my top 3 favorite Disney movies: Sleeping Beauty, Lion King, and Hunchback of Notre Dame are like my favorites. And then, you know, then there's like Mulan, and then there's other ones, but Lion King is up there. It was absolutely, I am such a big fan of the story. I'm a big fan of the music. I'm a big fan of everything. I got the lucky chance to go see it in Broadway, and that was such an amazing experience, and I was really excited for it. And then I saw clips, and I saw so much about it, and I was like, what is this? What did they do? It's that same thing. What did they do to my boy? It's so lackluster in comparison, and the thing is that they could have done so much with it. They really it's like they sucked all of the joy and the energy and the fun out of it and gave you nothing. Like, and there's like some amazing YouTube shows about it that talk about especially the music side of it, and it is depressing. It's actually depressing because there's no life in it. It's so lifeless. So why would you go back and do, I mean, maybe they'll take a lot of the feedback and criticisms and they'll actually make like if it's live action, they'll make it a lot more more animated, because I mean, here's the thing is that big cats are way more animated than they showed in the live action Lion King. They were so lifeless. I mean, you watch the trailers even, and they're so lifeless. They're just not good. So yeah. And I can't deny the work that they did on it. I'm sure they did. It took hours and hours and hours for them to render those live, very realistic looking animals, but they aren't, because they're not animated enough to be those, because big cats are super animated. Regular cats are animated. So let's okay, maybe don't remake that. Well, I wouldn't mind them remaking it. They just need a director who's competent, because that director is so incompetent. That's a whole nother thing, a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, so that's my take on it. I hope that they give us something new about Mufasa to tell us the story why Scar is so angry. That would be nice. I mean, His original name, Scar, is not his original name. His original name was something. I mean, it literally meant trash. It's like Taka, I think, or something like that, and it meant trash, which is awful and terrible.
Right.
So it gives me, Golden Child scapegoat vibes a lot. But of course, you need to have a great villain, and Scar is one of those indomitable, great villains.
Man, Charles Dance, he was so amazing in the Golden Child.
Yeah.
He was the villain in that.
Yes, I love the Golden Child. That's a great 80s film. Anyways, okay.
I'm not going to watch this. I haven't watched anything after the original Lion King in 1994 by Disney. And I'm going to keep it that way. We used to call this not live action. It's animated. Yeah. When it's all done on the computer, it's animated. Pixar is animated. It's all done on the computer. Therefore, it is animated. I don't care what you say. If it's not real cats, sorry, it's not live action.
If you're not in literal danger for filming this, it's not live action.
But I mean, the story might be interesting because Scar is the older brother, and typically in lineage of kings, the older brother happens to do it. So usually, what's going to happen is my prediction is that he is king. He starts ruling, and Mufasa overthrows him and kicks him out because that's what happens when you have multiple male lions in a pack and in a group. So it'd be interesting to see that because also. What everyone talks about the Lion King stuff like that is when a new male lion takes over a pride, it kills all the babies because then therefore all the babies are only theirs.
It's real biblical.
And there's my cat.
So it'll be interesting to see what people say about it. Do we have Mufasa without James Earl Jones? We'll see.
Maybe it's Charles Dance.
Ooh,
just kidding.
Maybe.
That was.
But it's interesting that if you look at the voice cast in the trailer, we have Timon and Pumbaa back. So Seth Rogen is back as Pumbaa, showing they're much older than what we expect them to be. Mm-hmm. Because they're there for obviously.
Or they're
the narrators. They're the narrators. It could be that. It could be like Lion King 1.5, which I actually found incredibly fun to watch. I don't know if either of you've seen Lion King 1.5, but there were some times where I actually was laughing really hard. I mean, it's so fourth wall. It breaks the fourth wall all the time, but it is really funny. And I really love Lion King too. So I love all the iterations of it. I think Lion King 2 is a really well told story. It's based off of Romeo and Juliet. Same with West Side Story, or same with Mufasa. With Lion King, it's based off of Hamlet. Mm-hmm. Pretty awesome. Love the storytelling things. It's actually not based off of Kimba the White Lion. It's just coincidental. Amazingly enough, even though they talk about how Disney must have obviously ripped off Kimba the White Lion. There's a whole thing about that. But I don't think it actually was. I think it was more because it was coincidentally around the same time. But it's all those
Disney would never take a story that's not theirs and make it their own and trademark it, so no one else can make it.
That's not what I was saying. I'm just saying that the whole thing with Hamlet. I mean, there's arguments that could go both ways on it.
Yeah.
There you go. This is Hamlet 2: The Reckoning.
Hamlet 2: Two Shades
Hamlet
of Blue.
2.
What? No.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
Blue Velvet? What?
Parody. Anyway, let's keep.
All right. So if you guys haven't watched the trailer for Eric, Benedict Cucumber's new TV show, I highly suggest it. If you guys watched the trailer for it,
I did. I actually watched it before I watched it when it came out because I was like, well, this is interesting. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, pretty much Benedict. Anybody named Benedict, I like. Benedict Wong, Benedict Cumberbatch, I like him.
Benedict Arnold.
Benedict Arnold. No, I'm not a fan of his. Although I am a fan of his eggs. So anyway, I watched it. Here's the thing these are the two things that I want to talk about. One, it's a darker version of If.
Yes.
So I think a double feature of that. So watch If and then binge the show on Netflix. And then Also, it reminds me, did you guys ever see the Jim Carrey TV show where he played like a Mr. Rogers type character and he had all these puppets
No.
around him? I think it was called Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, I feel like that's also part of it. Like there's something there too. Like he's definitely having a mental breakdown in this, but
Yeah.
the way that he did it and how, like, you can see the desperation just in the trailer of Benedict Cumberbatch's character Edgar, that it's really interesting. Like he's trying to do everything he can to keep his world together when everything is falling apart and this schism happens, and it's magnificently done. So I think that there's going to be a lot more to it than that, but I do enjoy it. And I feel like it's probably going to be better than any M. Night Shyamalan twist we'll get coming out.
Now, did his character give you Jim Henson vibes?
Kind of generically. Does that make sense? Like, to me, it's more Avenue Q, less Jim Henson, but like Jim Henson is so big in the creature world that you can't really get away from that. If you're doing characters, people are gonna say, "Oh, this is Jim," this has Jim Henson vibes. And Jim Henson was way more than Sesame Street. I mean, he did so much more, but I just think that it gave me more on the Jim Carrey, and I think it's just because we watched that show, really liked it. And then I have If in my head because I just think that's such an adorable little movie, and I cannot wait to see it. It hits all of my girly buttons. So I mean, John Krasinski's in it, Ryan Reynolds is in it, and he does a dance number. If you guys haven't seen the thing between him and that Christmas movie that they did on Apple, Spirited.
I haven't seen it.
That too before you watch If, because I think that'll give us anyway. Getting off topic.
There's too many. I can't keep up with it. Too many.
But I feel like I'm gonna watch this. I don't know if I can because I get really triggered with when younger boys are in jeopardy. Because
that makes sense. You have a
son.
Yeah.
And the way he came into the world was traumatic for me. So I have a hard time with that. But I'm going to watch as much of it as I can because it really looks amazing. So,
Captain, did you have a chance to watch the trailer?
I did not get a chance to watch the trailer, but I was pretty busy. Yesterday and earlier this week, I was pretty busy. So I did not get to see this. This sounds really interesting. There's so much backstory of like with what Fray was. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much I'm gonna have to watch just to understand this.
No, I'm just saying,
it's not related.
It gave me. Yeah, you don't have to watch all that to understand it. It's not affiliated with any of that. It's just these are the things that I'm like, oh, this is kind of giving me this vibe. It's kind of giving me this vibe. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I must have New Order on the brain. I must have really missed playing it with you guys last night because I'm like, oh, Eric, of course. Like I'm just thinking New Order character. I'm like, oh man. So I have nothing really important to say about it.
The brief synopsis. I don't have a button to play anything. Is that Benedict Cumberbatch is a puppeteer that is making puppets, and his son goes missing, and his son was creating this imaginary friend called Eric. And he's helping bring that friend to life and making a full-size body creature like Big Bird or Snuffleupagus or something like that to help find his son. So he's saying there's real-world monsters, but maybe this creature named Eric can help people find his son and be able to find it. So it's kind of like Funny meets Sherlock Holmes.
It sounded actually what I get from it. It's like John Walsh beats Frank Oz. It's like John Walsh beats Jim Henson. I mean, John. It's like that kind of story. It's like what if you were Jim Henson, and your son went missing. Like that's what it feels like. Which is actually a really interesting premise of like, what would you do? How would you get people to relate and to help you find your son, having all those resources to do so? And if you were that kind of creator, that's a really interesting premise. I'm gonna have to check out this movie. It sounds like it's gonna be or is it a series?
It's a limited run series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really interesting limited run. I'm gonna have to take a look at it because I mean, it just seems such a great premise. By the way, I watched Dark Crystal Resistance. I am totally sold on that show. I fell in love with it, and all of our watchers go and watch it. Please show Eric. I think it's Eric Henson. Actually, funny enough, I think is it Ryan? I don't remember.
Henson, maybe.
Ryan Henson. I think it might be Ryan Henson. Show Ryan Henson some love because he really stepped into his father's footsteps and really made that show incredible with the dark. Like it really. At the first episode, I was like, and then after the second episode, I'm like, I'm sold. Like you could tell he really loved this franchise and did such a great job. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that with Eric. I'm trying to stay on topic here. To it, but I just don't have enough yet. So I will come back to you guys on that. But I am interested in seeing this now.
Yes, but today's May the 4th, as we all know. There's a new gameplay trailer story of Star Wars Hunters. That I don't know.
What I got from this is like it's kind of like a like you battle like like almost like an Injustice kind of game.
Yeah.
Where you have two and they fight, not like Mortal Kombat style. Obviously, there's something different.
The Terakasai game that was Star Wars Battles Terakasai, where it was a fighting game with lightsabers.
Right, basically. But this looks like it could be a team up game where you have like certain characters against certain characters, and that's what I got from the trailer that I saw at the announcing. I guess it announced that it's coming out soon. So Patrick Mahomes is a puppet. Okay, but that's uncalled for. I don't even really know who. I know who he is, but I don't know enough about him to say that he's a puppet. Anyway. But yeah, that's really kind of what I got from it. The graphics look amazing. It looks really cool, but I just don't know. I don't know.
Sewong left because I came on. I honestly think it's personal at this point. I think he just hates me.
He's also working. He works.
Yeah. So, Captain, did you watch the trailer or know anything about this?
I didn't know anything about it until I watched the trailer. Oh, I
will watch the trailer. I've just been really busy, guys. I'm sorry. No, but all I could think of when I saw it, that we were doing it, we're going to talk about it today. All I can say is that I just got that it was like, it could be either really good or really bad. But I was like, oh, I'm getting like, what is that N64 game? Gosh. The Star Wars
Shadows of the Empire?
No. N64. Shadows of the Empire is like PlayStation.
64. It's 64. It's only 64. Yeah.
And then maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. There was a couple I thought for.
Where you play as Dash Rendar between episodes 5 and 6. That's Shadows.
Yeah. Okay, that's Shadows of the Empire. Okay, never mind. I take it back. I thought there was another one though, like Rebels or it was something.
There's Rebel Assault. There's Pod Rebel Racing. Assault. There's Naboo Starfighter.
It's Rebel Assault. That's what I'm thinking of. Which means it could be really good. And then it also was, I was like, is this an MMORPG? And then I just thought about the early days of the Star Wars MMORPG. And I was like, ooh, it could either be really good or really terrible. So, yeah.
I agree. It is a free-to-play game, which means there's going to be pay real money to get stuff that you want. To me, it looks like a mobile game, quite honestly. And I understand the reason at this point in time, just because this is Star Wars Celebration month. We celebrate the entire month of Star Wars. Yes. The only hope I have of this game is while we are getting Tales of the Empire TV show, this could be Tales of the Bounty Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This could be Tales of the Bounty Hunters, which is another fantastic book from the EU. And we all know that I love the Legends books more than anything new for Star Wars.
The universe is amazing that way.
Yeah. So maybe this could bring in Dash Rendar from Shadows of the Empire. Maybe we can get more of the Black Sun. We can get more IG-88 and stuff like that. So I'm hoping it does that and brings it to it. But my guess is this is going to bomb like the fighting game Terra Kasai did, which only was made canon because of Solo. Because let's face it, Amelia Clark's character mentions that she knows how to fight in the style of Terra Kasai.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I just realized that the N64 game is based off of the book Shadows of the Empire. And I read that book.
That book's fantastic.
But I just realized, it just clicked. I'm like, holy, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No wonder it's called Shadows of the Empire.
I just want to say we're all wearing black shirts today.
Mm-hmm. Of
Yay.
course. Well, it's only because we are vengeance, we are darkness. Batman Arkham Shadow.
Oh. Well, I'm wearing our merch, by the way. So hey, look at our amazing merch. It's fantastic. It's beautiful.
Our merch? What are you talking about?
Yes. Dash Beard art. So I'll give a quick synopsis here for anyone. This is a teaser trailer. This is a new Batman game set in the Arkham universe, which we've been waiting a very long time for a new Arkham game to come out. And the closest we got was kill the Justice League. And everyone's pissed off that they killed someone big in that game. I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
But let's just say they immediately go, this actor is going to be in other things after this. Don't worry. Which is going to be interesting to see. But this is a MetaQuest 3 game only, so it is VR. I think they're saying it's the same style as the Iron Man VR game that came out a couple years ago for the PlayStation VR 1. We had a Batman VR game that you were able to play as, I think it's Dick Grayson, investigating the murder of Batman.
Ooh,
but
I would just try to get naked and look at myself in the mirror. What? I didn't say that.
So
let's move on.
But I mean, so Fray, what are your thoughts as you are wearing?
I'm wearing a Batman shirt, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love you.
So I saw the gameplay, like I saw the trailer, and I was like, as I totally just did that. Excuse me. Hello, I'm back. It looks really neat. There's a lot of rats in it.
There are.
With red eyes. Like rats with red eyes.
Do you think then the villain will be Ratcatcher?
As soon as I thought, I was like, is this Ratcatcher? Because this looks like it's probably Ratcatcher.
You can make that incredibly scary, though. You can make that you can make a villain like that incredibly like sinister and
absolutely. I think it's going to be
terrifying. Because rats are terrifying.
I don't think I'll be playing it because we don't have the MetaQuest, and I don't think we will get that because Husby gets motion sickness, and so he would just spend the whole game vomiting. And he's played all the other Arkham games, so except we haven't played the Kill the Justice League, which I do kind of want to, but I don't know.
Well, if you want to see the game, just go watch our sister channel, Young Phil, play Kill the Justice League over on the Kyber Cave or Distance Learning Twitch channel. It's all there. So just watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I will, but I'm just saying, like, I want to play it too. I'm like, because I love games like that. But what happens is I'll get it and I'll play it for a bit, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I understand the mechanics, whatever. And then Husby takes over and he wants to finish the game, like everything. And so I think like if they make a version that's not MetaQuest, like if they, I don't know how they would do that, but if they do, then I'm sure he'd want to play it. So
yeah. So, Captain, I'm not going to say this is potentially the only Batman voice. This is his last game. They talked about him being in other games, other properties. There's a chance this is Kevin Conroy, and maybe his last thing that he recorded voiceover for.
It's incredibly sad.
But I mean, because he is.
I'm not
he
laughing.
Is,
I'm not laughing. I'm actually like trying not to like get all emotional and cry.
he is our Batman in the Arkham series.
Yes, he is. I actually have the original Arkham series game.
Mhm.
I have the special edition for PlayStation 3 for it, which actually comes in the battering. So
Mhm.
like, yeah, huge Batman. The animated series is my series. Such a great. It's so good. Actually, all the animated series that he was in is actually quite fantastic. I think they're all like. I've been watching the 2003 Justice League recently, and it's so good. Surprisingly, I mean, yes, is it kind of like kidified a little bit? Yeah, but it's still like the episodes are still really interesting and they're still well written, and I'm surprised. The only thing that's terrible about that show is that beginning. Anyways, I love the premise that it's Dick Grayson. That it's Dick Grayson like investigating the murder of Batman. I find that to be
that was the last VR game that was Batman.
Oh, that was the last VR
we
game.
don't know. Like I said, essentially his shadow over a bunch of rats. So that's why Fray and I think it's Ratcatcher, hands down.
Right. I do think that is. I mean, I just really like that premise. I think it's such an interesting and great premise to have. There is I think I might have mentioned this before, but there was a audio book or an audio thing that was set. That was made in the 90s, I think, actually, and it was called The Dark Knight Falls, and The Dark Knight Rises. And it had Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, as respectively playing their characters. And you had Azrael come in and taking over as the Bat, and then you have this moment where Dick Grayson confronts Bruce and asks him why he didn't have him take up the mantle. It's really great series, but this is what it kind of, that's why I was like, oh, that harkens back to that moment of like
Nightfall. Are you talking about Nightfall?
It might have been Nightfall. It's
after
a book.
Batman gets his back broken and some
take over. It's Nightfall. Yes. Batman gets his back broken by Bruce or by Bane. I apologize. Batman gets his back broken by Bane, and then he leaves and he chooses this kid that he meets to be Batman. It turns out that he is from a long line of archangels or something and the Azrael character starts taking over. Yeah, there's actually a audio book series, dramatized series of it, and it's so good. And like when it gets to the ending of the series, and they're saying who everyone plays, it's Mark Hamill's Joker. He's holding the narrator or the end quotes, the person who's reading who everyone's playing by gunpoint in the thing, and they're reading out like, okay, who's this person? This person's like, can I go home now? He's like, yes. It's really funny. It's like, yes, you can leave now. It's just so amazing and funny, and like, because he just does the Joker laugh, and it's like, it's just one of those quintessential childhood moments for me of like listening to it. That really sticks out in my brain, and I hope that it's something like that where it's just one beautiful crazy thing. Anyways, I hope that this game is really good, as I always want Batman games to be, because Batman's the OG.
So the question, quick question, yes or no, do you want Waititi to be Ratcatcher if it is Ratcatcher?
Yes.
Who?
Taika Waititi. He was Ratcatcher in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he was the original Ratcatcher in Suicide Squad.
Oh, interesting. Maybe.
I think he should be.
But speaking of Suicide Squad, I actually saw the new Suicide Squad.
That's the one he was in.
Yeah, he was in the Suicide Squad. He's in that when they're up on the tower and he's telling her about rats and how rats are amazing. That's Taika Waititi.
Oh, I did not even realize that was Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But it doesn't sound like Hush is going to be the main villain, but we can still speak no evil.
Yes.
Did you watch the trailer for this, or have you seen the original Speak No Evil movie? horror movie?
I've seen so many horror movies. I have to remember what the premise is for it. And I just didn't get a chance to see any of the trailers.
Oh, I can't. If you've seen the original movie, you know the premise of this. So I don't want to spoil anything because it was a German or Danish and Netherlands movie that came out a couple years ago. And now we have the new one starring James McAvoy in this, the American remake with non-American people. So I don't know how it's the American remake. So
I will not be watching it. I did see the trailer, but the reason is because of what I said earlier about Eric, because there is a young boy in this and he definitely gets abused. It's in the freaking trailer. So I am not watching this. Absolutely not. Although James McAvoy is buff in this. He was buff. I think him and Russell Crowe should play father and son in something.
Ooh,
they
that would be
look so
interesting.
much alike now. Like his face, how it's filled out because he's so buff, looks very Russell Crowe. It took me a second. Like I kept double taking, thinking it was Russell Crowe for a second. And I'm just not. It's not something that I would watch anyway. You guys know I don't really go out of my way to watch horror movies.
Me neither.
So, which is so funny because I'm such a Buffy stan. I'm like, I love Buffy, but I don't consider it horror. I consider it comedy that just has vampires in it and demons and stuff because of the way they treat them. But the trailer looks amazing. It was cut very well. Everyone did a really good job acting in it. I just am not going to watch this movie, but that's for my mental health and not because I don't think the movie is good.
Right.
It will be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone, like I said, I know how this is going to end. And let's just say if you've ever seen any 70s exploitation movie,
Blackula.
Not blaxploitation, exploitation, Last House on the Left, I Spit in Your Grave.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Town That Dreaded Sundown. That's my favorite horror movie ever.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be good. Captain, I highly suggest you watch. I think you will like it because of the psychological aspect of it.
Yeah, I was actually looking it up, and it seems it seems like it's been taken from some true events because the premise reminds me of some of the true crime horror stories like the Madison case.
Yeah.
Anyone's familiar? That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
So will you see this?
I probably will. I finally just saw Five Nights at Freddy's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to watch that.
I actually liked it. I found it quite enjoyable, but that's not either here nor there. We're not talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. Speak No Evil is great. I thought Speak No Evil was a really great premise. It was a great premise. I'm gonna have to watch it and watch the Danish version now. There's so many. We just need to get together, Dampy, and talk about horror movies because I think you and I would really have a fun time doing that.
Oh yeah.
And recommending horror movies to each other or watching horror movies. I keep saying this. We all need to have a watch party and just watch these and react to them all the time and talk about them because you and I and Fray, you're always invited, of course.
And Mezzo, she has 1,000 horror movies to watch.
Yeah, so it's we have all of these movies. We just need to go down the list and do it. And I mean, you and I are huge horror movie buffs. So yeah, this seems like this is right up my alley.
So yeah, so anyone that hasn't watched the trailer yet, the brief synopsis is it's a couple that meets another couple on a European vacation and they get invited to the house and things happen. I won't say what things. They are big things. Like I said, there's probably lots of trigger warnings in this movie. So make sure to go that it's, if you have trigger warnings for horror movies, go to doesthedogdie.com and that will tell you all the different trigger warnings that happen in horror movies. Like if you don't like Jello being eaten out of belly buttons, don't watch this movie. They have stuff as specific as that. I'm not joking, but it's usually for does the dog die? So people know whether the dog dies in the movie. That's how it all started. But yes, there is I'm gonna say it, child abuse, and one scene in the trailer is a vegan being forced to eat a piece of lamb.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Quite a few trigger warnings in that.
I was watching Raw, I think that's what it's called. And I actually just stopped watching. Amazingly, I didn't even realize I had this trigger point, but there was a point where she was being forced to eat meat, like raw meat, and I got so triggered I had to stop watching. Like, I was so surprised. I was like, why is this so disturbing and awful for me? And I was like, I can't watch this. I can't.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, am I getting soft? No, it's just a weird trigger point for me. I don't know what I didn't. Maybe it's because being vegan, I get so many people who trying to pressure me to eat meat. And I read these terrible, terrible Reddit stories of like these these boyfriends who try to trick their girlfriends into eating meat when they're vegetarian. They've been vegetarian before they met them. I don't know if that has caused this, but like there's this weird trigger point I have. So that's really interesting. I think that's yeah.
Well, let's end on maybe a happy note. I don't know.
Yeah.
Raise fortunes. What you got for us?
Yeah, we're not. But yeah, yay. Hi. It's back, y'all. All right. So my nerd out / phrase fortunes is Shogun, or how to succeed in Japan without really trying. Because that's kind of the whole thing in this. So I want to say, so this is the series that's on Hulu right now that just came out. So from start to finish, this series is not only beautiful, but also a masterclass in strategy. It is based on James Clavell's or Clavel's, I don't know how to say, I haven't ever heard anyone say that, novel, and is based on the true account of William Adams, who actually was an Englishman who went to Japan and became a samurai and stayed there for the remainder of his life. So the series is based on three main characters. The first one is John Blackthorne, played by Cosmo Jarvis. He's a British pilot. They call him Anjin in Japanese. So during the whole thing, they don't ever call him Blackthorne or Blackthorne Sama or anything like that. He's always Anjin. Anjin Sama, Anjin. That's how they say it, which I thought was really interesting. And kind of telling on what how this society views people. They view them by what they are able to do and not really who they are. So he's on a Dutch ship, but he's a British pilot. He's our introduction to Japan of the 1590s to the 1600s. In the 1600s, that's when they had the Edo period, which was a long shogunate. And this is like right before that and what happens before that. At the beginning of the series, he is captured and then basically held hostage by Yoshi Toranaga-sama, sama meaning lord, or is a sign of respect, and his vassals. And so then we go to Lord Yoshi Toranaga, who's played by Hiroyuki Sanada, who's also the executive producer of the show. He's one of 5 regents for the underage emperor because his father died and now he has inherited. He is the most respected of the regents, and his major rival in the regents is Lord Ashido Kazanari, or Kazanari-sama. And then the third main person is Lady Toda Mariko, or Mariko-sama is what they call her in the show. She is the translator for John Blackthorne and love interest. She's a vassal of Toranaga-sama, and she teaches Blackthorne Japanese culture while telling her own story of hardship. So it's like a 3-pronged thing, and you see it from all 3 views. It's really like, it's very layered, very intricate. So I'm not going to give too much away about the series because it really needs to be seen and experienced in order to really understand. Like, you really have to know. I would also recommend, I mean, it's an epic story, yet it's subtle, and it should be watched with the Japanese subtitles. So the English dub loses a lot of the nuances from the story because because Anna Sawai, who plays Lady Toda Mariko, she translates, so there's, you know, it misses stuff when you don't have that. You don't need that if you're just doing the English dub. So it kind of is a little odd. So a few scenes early on really highlight the power struggle of that each character faces. And just when you think you know where the story is going, it swerves. I was surprised several times with how the story unfolds, and the ending of the series is satisfying but leaves you wanting more. It is a limited series. They finished the book off, so there's not really, they'd have to do one of the other books that he wrote if they were going to end. None of the characters are in that book, so it's not like it's going to be a continuation. One scene in particular, though, stands out to me. The first time Blackthorn / the Anjin meets Toranaga-sama and how they cut the scene, it's magnificent. It's like, it's so beautiful. Even to this day, I'm like, I would watch that scene anytime. It highlights how even through a language barrier, two men can understand one another. It's just beautifully done. So it is a beautiful yet brutal tale of honor, love, and subtle maneuvering for power, set during a time in Japan where the fate of the whole country depends on whether Toranaga-sama succeeds or fails. I recommend it wholeheartedly to everyone. It is brutal, and not everything and everyone makes it out alive. So if you are interested in Japanese culture in the Edo period or the Segu, I can't remember, Segukawi, I think it is. Please don't at me for that. Because that was it from memory. But it really does, it really highlights like what honor means in Japan and how it really how outsiders really don't understand anything about Japan in this era. So yeah, I would say definitely watch it. It's, I want to say 8, it may be 10 episodes. I didn't have that written down. But yeah, it is self-contained. Everyone does an amazing job. I totally loved Hiroyuki Sanada before this, and I love him even more after this. Just the way the way he does Lord Toranaga-sama is amazing. Cosmo Jarvis is brilliantly like befuddled most of the time because he doesn't understand half of what's going on. And Anna Sawai, I think she's the breakout of the show. She really does an amazing job in this. So, and I actually didn't know who she was before this. So, and I'm now a huge fan of her. So,
I think you should always watch every Japanese movie sub.
It's one of those that it's such an interesting tale, and because you know that it's based on a true person, it also is like, oh wow, this is the tea. This is the tea of that time. You know, you get to really see behind the scenes, and I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, I can tell you that Salem has been hounding me to watch this series just so he can talk to me about it.
You should. I think you'd really like it, just from like how you are with your TV shows. You know, like because you and I have talked about we have similar tastes in television, and I think you'd really like it. Now, granted, I haven't read the book. Husby read the book, so he knew what was going to happen, and he absolutely adored the show as well. So he really liked it. He was the one that'd be like, let's watch it. He wanted to watch all of them, so he could catch up. And I was like, no, we're watching one at a time because I need to digest this. You know what's going on, but I have no idea. So yeah, so he loved it too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Maybe the Salemans come on the Nerd Out.
Yeah, I don't think
probably not happening.
Yeah.
He is seen, never seen, sometimes heard. So. Have you started watching this, Captain? Or do you plan on watching it?
I am planning on watching it at some point. I am I love, as you know, I'm all things Japanese and Japan. But But I do have moments where I watch something and I go, who is this for? And there are certain movies about Japan that you're like, this is definitely a white person made this, with little understanding. And then there's ones that they're obviously directed by Japanese directors, and and then they get dubbed and you're like, what happened?
This was half and half. So they had Japanese people on the crew and British people on the crew, and they all worked together. And like I said, like Hiroyuki Sanada is the executive producer, and his family were samurai. So he has there's a lot of really, they went really in depth with this.
Which is how it should be. I mean, that is a really yeah, and I think that doing it half in English and half in actual Japanese, and then not, but it's really weird when they overdub those parts, because there is so much that's lost in that. And I've seen that time and time again when you have other Japanese shows or you have Japanese, media in general, and it gets dubbed. There's, especially if someone either doesn't know how actual how everything's framed and translated, and translation gets really weird, and then a lot of those cultural nuances get lost, and you're like, this makes no sense. And it's because there's it's showing this much, and all of this is missing of the cultural nuances of what that is, of that. And that is a huge thing for me. So definitely that's my take on it. I do plan on watching it. It looked really good. I would I'd watch it just subbed. So
well, I will be interested when both of you watch it to see how you guys like it, or what you.
And also, it's a good
I may not have
practice of Japanese. Yeah, it's a good practice of Nihongo. So
yeah, but it's traditional 1600 Japanese.
So it's Keigo? Okay.
Yeah, so it's really hardcore.
So if anyone doesn't know what the Keigo dialect, it's high. It's Edo / Meiji era high-born samurai dialect. So it's ancient. It's basically Old English style dialect. So yeah, so it's there's a lot of honorifics, a lot of very fancy. In Japan now, they still carry remnants of that. The sama is very much, that is part of that whole thing for it. So yeah, so that's really interesting. Anyways, it's a good way of brushing up on that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that nerd out, Fray. We always appreciate your nerd outs too. But we're at the end of the show, so give us your pluggables, Fray.
Oh, I'm up first. Yay! All right. I'm apparently on the internet way too much. I'm on this show on Saturdays. I also am currently recording the New Order with these two lovely people, and we will be debuting it soon on this channel. And then I'm also on Distance Nerding for the download on Tuesdays. We're also doing a separate series called Examining 97 on Wednesdays, where we're talking about X-Men 97 and really, really geeking out about it.
Another thing I have to watch.
Yeah, and so we do that every Wednesday. I have my own channel at Fray Girl, and Shadu and I right now, we're doing Classified, which is where we take your favorite fandoms and put them into their D&D classes. And we have a sister show called Journals of the Classes. We're up to Sorcerer, and it is currently out right now. Go give that a watch and a like. That would be amazing if you guys could do that. But it tells you all of the different classes. Once they're all completed, you can actually watch each one, and it tells you each class and each subcategory of those classes, so that it may give you a better understanding of how to create D&D characters, or why we go where we do with our classifieds. So that's me.
Love it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Captain.
Now I just have one question. What is Blade's class? Indeed. Yeah, I
We
have to think
haven't
about
done
that.
Blade yet, so hopefully we will.
Yeah, that would be
soon.
fun. Sorry, my cat is chaotic good, and his class is
Bard. He's Bard.
bard. Yeah, bard, like his mom. Anyway, which I sub have dual classes. Anyway, all right, I am the captain, your captain, and I am on this channel quite a bit. I have been taking a break from it. Mostly just to work on the New Order. The New Order has taken precedent and has taken a hold of my life in so many ways. And but you can find me here. I am sometimes. We need to do another episode for Castlevania 64, Dampy. On Retro Alcove. I was on Hearts of Kyber. I was all over the place on this channel, but now I am not so much. You can also find me on Instagram. I post a lot of art stories, and I have links to my music there. I've also been recording a new album, which that hopefully will be coming soon, in the next couple of years, maybe, depending. And you can find all that stuff on Spotify. I also do write a lot of music, so that is also happening as well. And I'm an actress. I just did 2 different table reads that you can find on YouTube. If you look up Table Read Tuesdays, I am there. I actually got to play Rick from Casablanca. I got to play 2 male leading roles, which is so much fun. I got to play Rick from Casablanca and Jack Ryan from the Jack Ryan series. So a lot of fun. Please check those out. Yeah, Table Read Tuesdays. And you can tell me how I did, because I have a terrible time watching myself and I can't. So that's me.
Thank you, Captain. I'm Graveyard Coast, the Mostly Pilot Night, Mostly Podcast. You can find new episodes every Wednesday at Comic-Con Radio, along with our sister channel, Distance Learning, for everything they do as well. I also have a show on the internet called Conversations Avoid. Follow us everywhere at Pod Out at Night, where we talk to anyone in the horror world, whether you're a filmmaker, you're a writer, your production site, your SFX. We like to talk to you. So make sure to check that out. You'll see me here at Kyber Cave Productions 2 or 3 days a week with new shows coming out as we get to them. Also see me in Distance Learning on every Tuesdays doing nerdy brackets as much as possible with the build while Phil builds Legos. And you'll see me harassing Phil nonstop while he's gaming live on his Twitch at Distance Learning. So thank you everyone for joining us for this Saturday morning Nerd Out. And just today is May the 4th, and we do something very special over at Kyber Cave Productions with our Patreons. The different tiers of members get different lightsabers you can win on May 4th. So probably tomorrow night's show on Saber Rattle, they'll be announcing the winner. So just join our Patreon just for as little as $1 a month. You can help support our channel. Like I said, the higher tiers, you can have chances to win brand new exclusive lightsabers, one of a kind from the shop over at Kyber Cave. So make sure to check that out and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, because every 100 subscribers we get on YouTube, we also give away a free lightsaber. So make sure to check that out. And we'll see.
And it's my birthday, so please come join our Patreon for my birthday. Whee!
Yes. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow night. And why don't we have... There it is. All right, everyone. Bye.